Time to work on the CRF. So there's a few things to do, and the first one is fuel gauge is not working. So I think it's the sender or the float inside the tank. So one of those coming, so I can do that. And then I'm going to dive in, be a bit brave, and I'm going to take off the ABS unit and replace with some Venhill hoses. Should be a bit of fun, should work. And then we've got a CBR 300 inlet cam. I'm going to change that as well. Stanchion's out and the yokes are available now, and very difficult to see on this, but there is that just notches in and holds. There's a real mark on that bearing. Bump, out, in, out, in. So at the same time as doing the bearings, I'm also changing the brake hoses and removing the ABS. So I'm now going to try and take it off so that I keep it intact without cutting anything. So separation of the ABS sensor and then the actual brake line itself, which comes around, down, through, and then the first joint is here, top of the engine, so I shall crack that joint and remove that entire front hose in one go. This video is going to jump around a bit, so now I've taken off the front hose, disconnected here. I've now disconnected the rear hose, and I will start to take it away from the various places it's connected. But you can see that the rear cylinder brake master goes back up to the ABS unit and then comes back down here. So there's quite a lot of hosing to take off in there. And then round from here, we've got access to the ABS unit now. Taking away what I think is the rectifier here. Move the horn. We can unbolt underneath. It's a bolt on the rear as well. Down inside here. And then we've got one hose which there. This hose is the front brake, connects, so that'll be disconnected. And then there's two hoses that run behind the frame here. They're going to be a bit of a challenge, but they'll be okay. We'll get them out. So, next stage. Oh, the headstocks are out. That's looking okay. This one is discoloured, but it feels okay. Going to try it again. Right, brake system coming out, but to get the brake pipes off, it is much easier to take the shock out. So up from there we're twisting. So this is the second pipe we're going to take out now. That'll come through where you might think to take it out from the top, but it is far easier just to pull it down through the bottom. Okay, if you can feed that in. There it comes. There we go. Almost out.
Hook him up, Jim.
There we go. Put this way in, never going back in. Well, that's all the junk removed for the ABS. There's a big block. And there's all the little fittings and hoses. Front hose is done. I had to take the shock out to get the final hoses out, so a bit of work there still to do. So there's a big hole. Don't know what to do with the space, but it's there. I did change the bearings in the headstock, and actually fact I just changed the base one. Top one seemed okay. This one was a little notchy, very minor, but you could feel it. So now I'm going to give it a clean up. Got to tape up this. What I have identified is that the speedo operates from the rear ABS, and I have checked it with the front one disconnected and the ABS unit disconnected. the speedo still worked, so that's good news. Got to tape that up. That was the front ABS. This was a ground or an earth for the ABS unit, so I'm just going to put a connector in it and ground it down. I may as well keep it connected. So the new bearings are in. Bit of a struggle, if I'm perfectly honest, getting the bottom one in, but it's done. It's tight, but not overly tight. I shall run it for a bit and then reset them afterwards. The bottom washer or nut under there, it's only finger tight, but it feels okay. But yeah, so far good. It's a lot of faff, but it's kind of good fun. So the front headstock, the headstock bearings are done. They're in, and the stanchions are just going to go in now. Shall line the wheel up and then do the front brake. Can't do the front brake until I put the handlebars on, because I need to be able to undo the banjo at the top here, and then we can put the new Venhill hose on. Looking forward to that, I have to say. Repositioned the switch here for my USBs, and I removed the anti-lock brake switch as well. Bit of a faff that was, I have to admit. All getting it out behind the back of the speedo, but it's okay. We're getting there. Well, the new hose is on. It's not tight yet. I've got to try and make sure it runs correct, and I can't really do that till I get the bike off the stand. Bounce the forks up and down a bit, but they're on. It looks good, I think. Yeah, I ordered 25mm extra in length, and I think that was probably a good shout. You probably could have done it as standard length, but I think 25, possibly even 50mm could have been good. That's got to be tightened up onto there. Cabling seems to run all okay. And yeah, looking good. And of course it's colour coordinated. Brakes are bled and they seem to be all okay. Yeah, looking good. Stopped working on my bike, so I'm going to have a look inside to see if I can work out why. So the first thing is to take it apart. So it's coming out, it's a bit of a fiddle, but there it is. So maybe it's that's come off. We can see that clip's loose. I don't know if I've done that or that was what was stopping it, but we'll have a look. Well, we started with the cams, and to get to the cams, a few things to do first of all. So it released the radiator, 2 bolts, push it forward. I've found it easier to take the exhaust pipe off. That's really not that difficult in reality. Then I've released the clutch cable here, just by unbolting it, taking the cable out from here, gives me access to this. And then you've got to take the throttle cables off of the throttle body here, but that again is relatively straightforward. There is the exhaust sensor, which is in here. And I understand from exhaust sensors that you shouldn't touch them. I think grease mucks them up, hence I'm putting it in some clean paper, just keeping it hidden. So you can stay there. That now gives us access to the cams. So to get those in the right position, you also have to take the spark plug out, which is not the easiest of things, but that's out. Then you've got to remove these 2 caps, and we've got to get the engine by rotating this 17mm bolt and looking for top dead center on a mark in here. So we'll wind that round, and then the two cams, should then face out and out at that top dead center. Then you're at the right top dead center. Bit of fun. The other thing is I've got to release the chain cam tensioner here. So I'm not entirely sure how to do it at the moment, but I believe that screw comes out. Then you release this, remove it. Then you have to wind the spring mechanism back before you put it on. When you tighten up, you let it go, brings the tension back. So we'll see. But we'll get these lined up now. So we've rotated the engine, and we can see that the lines are just here, 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 and here, which then indicates that the cams are in the right sector. The lobes are facing up, which they are, the exhaust and the inlet. So we're now at the right position for the engine to release that point there. So the cam chain is slack now, they're in position. So what I've just been doing is the valve clearances, and we need 6 thou on the in and 11 on the out, and they're a good fit at that, which means I'm comfortable that we're not going over or under. Done them both. So we can see here the two cams. This is the original and this is the CBR, and you can see that the lobe is bigger on the CBR, so we're going to get more and longer lift. So cams in, covers are back on. Now it's the reassemble. Put the throttle cables on, exhaust pipe in next, cam chain is all tight, tensioned, and then put the clutch on, and then put the radiator back in position. That should be the next half an hour. So we're off the ramp, and now we can go around and test things. Tank's back on. Obviously the bodywork's got to go back together, but we cleaned up the exhaust, give that a little bit of a polish. So remember, we've done the cam, headstock, the brakes. Yeah, I think that's about it at the moment. Yeah, so it's quite a bit of work. Good. Well, it worked. There's a bit of polishing stuff on the exhaust, but the engine started. The fuel gauge worked. The ABS has remained on as expected, not flashing. I'm happy. Well, we just give the CRF a good run, done about 50 miles. No off-road stuff at the moment, but I will say I think the new cam makes it feel stronger. Appears to give it a bit more torque. Can't say it revs that much freer, possibly, breathes well, but it certainly works, so I'm pleased about that. A bit mucky at the minute, dirty roads. But I'm loving all this missing cables. There's the old brake there. So much tidier. Yeah, feels good. Very happy with it. And I think for about 30 quid, it was worth doing.